Mode.
Welcome everyone, it's Drayton Boylston and my partner in the coaching crucible, Mr. Gary Henson.
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone.
Yeah, so we've got people, it's all kinds of time zones, I would imagine, out there. And I'm coming to you today from snowy Colorado, 8,000 feet up in the Rockies, and we got a foot of snow last night. And it is a glorious bluebird day. It's absolutely beautiful. So I hope wherever you are, hopefully you're not in Boston. Hopefully you dug out and everybody's warm and safe. And if you could raise your hand and let me know that you can hear us, I would greatly appreciate that. Just a show of hands, make sure we're coming through loud and clear. Martha, thank you very much. Victoria, thank you much. Sam, thank you very much. Yes, okay. So, Gary, it looks like we have made the connection.
Beautiful. We're ready to launch.
Yes, we're ready to launch. And per the theme that Gary and I put forth this year, we're going to take you through a lot of really tangible things over the course of 2015, which still blows me away to say that. I still feel like I'm in 12 or something. But we're going to take you through a number of things. And today, there are two very important things that we're going to take you through. One is all about a process, and Gary will be addressing that in just a moment. And we're going to talk also about our executive dashboard and what that looks like and why, how you can use it and how it benefits your clients and how it can benefit your business as well. So I'd like to just get any questions. Last time we went through the values test, had some great feedback, went through the personal and the business values, and had some great feedback. And if you have any questions around that, just use the dashboard there that you've got and pose any questions. As Gary's speaking, I look at the questions. As I'm speaking, Gary will do the same, and we'll get to you as quickly as we can. But we're really curious just to know, how are you doing? What are some of the points of pain that you may be experiencing, and how might we be of service? So when we get to the latter part of this session, we want to make sure we can take any questions you have, any big pressing issues, because Gary and I, when we chat with coaches from all over the world, we hear so many different things, and there is so much, gosh, Gary, I think there's so much isolation out there. We just had a team call with our Executive Coaching University team just a couple of hours ago, and we were talking about that, how people are feeling, we're hearing from so many people that they feel isolated, that they feel like they don't have the connections that they maybe want and need as a solo entrepreneur running a business. And I'd just be curious to hear from all the folks that are with us today, are you guys feeling isolated? Do you feel like you're a part of something? Do you have a mastermind group? Do you have a coach, which Gary and I certainly have hit on a number of times? How are you operating your business? What support do you have? And Gary, that may be something we want to talk about in a future session, is just how to build that support system.
And Drayton, I think you inadvertently, or maybe you did this on purpose, I think you hit a nerve. I think I would raise my hand to have our next call be about that, and how maybe we could even have people give us input next month as to how this could be a connecting rod for people who want to look for places to keep in contact with others and not feel isolated. We can have an isolation-free zone call next month.
Oh, I like that. And there are so many different ways to stay connected that we could share with people now that I think about it. So, yeah, let's do that. And just give us your comments as we roll through this hour. Again, this is a public service. It's a no-pitch zone. Gary and I have been adhering to that for, gosh, Gary, 2.5 years now. It's
yes, we have.
2.5 years. So, and an important thing, too, to remember, we've set up a YouTube channel specifically for all of these recordings. And if you go to that, if you just go to YouTube and check, just search for Executive Coaching University, you'll find every single recording over the last 2.5 years that Gary and I have done. All that training is there, free of charge for you to take a look at and hopefully learn from. And just subscribe to that, and you'll automatically get this recording and all the future recordings as well. So that's on YouTube under Executive Coaching University. Just search for that, and it'll pop up, and you can get all these recordings, any ones that you happen to have missed. So, Gary, with all that being said, I would love to get your views on the importance of having a process as a coach.
Well, thank you for turning it over to me, Mr. Boylston. And I've said this a number of times, one of my very, very favorite topics that I enjoy teaching and working with coaches on. And I want to start with, I have some really, really good news for all of you listening and some really great stuff to share with you. And I want to begin by saying on my screen, I believe on your screen, is Executive Coaching University's process that they use, and ours is very similar, but it's going to sound different. So, number one, I don't have a screen view to show you, and number two, I'm going to verbally describe some things that I think are critical before I turn it back over to Drayton, and he can talk about what's on your screen. So the first thing that I want everybody to embrace is I got an email the other day, and it said something about getting involved with a business opportunity, and there were some choices to make, and some were franchises and some were business opportunities to get involved with. And the point is that you wouldn't get involved with a business opportunity or a franchise unless they had a system, a process, a way of doing business. So, for example, McDonald's doesn't open up stores where everybody gets the liberty to design your own store and your own logo and just use their name. They have a specific format for that business, and they don't call their business a practice. That's what doctors call their businesses practices. We call our coaching businesses business, and we want to approach it like a business. So the good news is that you are a coach, but you're also an entrepreneur, and you want to learn to run your business like a business, and businesses include certain things. A process, a system, what we call at businesscoach.com is a methodology. A methodology means that it is malleable, it is able to move and shift with where the client is, so you don't have to follow it exactly the same way with each client, but you do have a process that you walk them through. And without going into all the details, I want to give you some of the aspects that you want to include in a methodology or a process so that you can maximize the efficiency of your relationship, with your client, and also maximize the hourly fees that you charge. Drayton did a poll several months ago on one of our Coaching Crucible calls, and what's the average rate that people charge? We heard rates from, I don't know, $25 a session up to $150 a session up to, I don't know, I think a high might have been somebody charging $250 an hour at the top end. But most people were way, way, way underpriced. And many of you think that because your hourly fee is lower that you're going to attract more business, and I don't think that's the case. I think having a system, a process, a methodology is the way to bring value to your clients. So that being said, some of the things that you want to include are a format, a way that you walk your clients through this process as the screen shows here, over several months. So at businesscoach.com, we advocate about a 90-minute session 3 to 4 times per month. Every 90 minutes that we're face-to-face, or 60 to 90 minutes with the client that we're face-to-face with them on an almost weekly basis, they have as much or more homework that they have, or coursework that they do. Coursework in our methodology is we have picked out some really, really powerful books that fit our methodology, and our methodology is based on transformation. So what we include in transformation is not just having people do consultative work or learn or grow, but the books that we advocate people use and the process that they walk through is actually having people grow themselves, actually having people expand their thinking process. And as I've said so many times, one of my favorite sayings is that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So we help people prioritize their relationship to their business and the relationship that the business has to their employees, and develop a cultural aspect or an environment inside the business that everybody wins. Inside of this methodology, inside of this process, inside of these meetings, there's a beginning point and an ending point. So you want to establish a set of goals. You want to establish a direction that the client wants to end up with, and establish a pattern, a way of coaching them so that they get from what we call point A to point B. In our case, it's usually established as a one-year relationship to get from point A to point B, and typically about 6 months down the road, the client starts experiencing the results that they thought they would get in a year. They typically get in a much shorter time period, typically 6 months. And we start off with what is their vision for where they want to be, what's holding them back, and then we look at adding things like keeping score and planning, teamwork, leadership, accountability. We put those pieces in place and design them over a 6 to 12-month period of time. I know this is a lot of information, and when Drayton goes over the screen, you'll get some opportunity for Drayton and I to add details to this. So let me step back a step and say, meet 3 to 4 times a month, 60 to 90 minutes per session. There is a flow, there's a direction, there's a way that the sessions are designed to hook together a means to an end, get to point A to point B, their goals, not your goals. Usually we create big, lofty goals, so we don't have them just move slightly ahead. We have them create a culture that is designed for the employer and the employees all to aggressively take on a large set of goals. They commit to those goals, and then the coaching sessions are designed to have them accelerate their thinking, move forward in their thinking by reading really powerful books. I'm going to give you a couple of examples real quick because I don't want to take Drayton's time up and take away from what's on the screen there, but a couple of great books to start with are books like The Dream Giver, Bruce Wilkinson. We've talked about this before. What Got You Here Won't Get You There, which is Marshall Goldsmith's epic book. I think it was it was the #1 best-selling book in the entire world in 2008. Still a powerful book today. There's a lot of other transformational books that are for bigger organizations, like Good to Great is a powerful book. So our clients are doing homework as we're walking them through the process of moving forward to their goals. And your work with them is to find out where their struggles are and move them past the struggles, accelerate the process. Now I'm going to say one more major aspect to this in a little bit of a stern way, but I just want to get this out there because it's bubbling inside me and has been for years. Is that most of these methodologies, processes, coaching plans, you can't find at the IFC, the WABC, and these other organizations. You're going to have to look beyond the status quo and the people that claim they have these processes to deeper teachings and organizations that have a much more hands-on and stronger approach to developing a coaching methodology and strategy that's going to get you the process that gets the client results. I don't have anything against those organizations. They're great organizations. They've done very well, but you need something that is a little bit more relational than just asking questions. I've heard from some graduates of some of these programs that say, well, I just learned how to ask great questions and ask it. Well, that's a good 2% of what your strategy and your plan and your methodology should be, but it's not even close to a methodology, and you really need to understand the heart of the client and where they're struggling and have some tools to get them there. And these books are part of the tools that they learn as they're reading their way through and growing themselves. And again, I want to touch on a couple of aspects. You want to be clear on their vision for where they want to go and not let them get stuck on the fact that they haven't gotten there or they don't know how to get there. You want to have them have a very powerful scoreboard. If we have time, we're going to talk about that today as well. They need a great plan. And these are, again, key pieces to the methodology. This is not the whole methodology. You need to address teamwork when they have employees, leadership, and accountability. And again, I'm just touching the tips of the mountaintop. Now, if you can follow and have a methodology like this, then you should be charging anywhere from $400 to $600 an hour, maybe north of that number, for your face-to-face time with your clients. And you deserve that because you're bringing something to the table that literally becomes tangible for them. We have clients, I've worked for 25 years with clients that have not had a business plan. They don't have job descriptions. They don't have any core values for their organization. They don't have regular meetings where all the employees at least once a month get together to establish new business, old business, and cast the vision for the organization. So if you provide this kind of a tangible system, and if that's what your coaching is bringing to the table, if the accountability piece is making sure that they're doing homework assignments, reading books, and growing themselves, then I can't think of a high enough number to create the value of what you really should charge these people, because you're really, and it's not about the money, it's about you're bringing tangible value to the table. Now, I'll say a couple more things, and so get ready, Drayton. I'm going to hand it back off to you in a couple of minutes. A couple more things. In my world, the three things that a powerful business coach brings to the table to a client or potential client that they can't get anywhere else, it's not available anywhere else, are, number one, you are bringing an outside objective opinion to the table. You can't get an outside objective opinion from their managers, from their boss, from their spouse, from the employees. It's not available. People can't be objective if they're on the inside. Outside objective opinion. Number two, accountability partner. holding them accountable to read these books and asking questions and validating that they read the material and they understand how it's going to move them forward. Accountability partner. And third is to then create actions and results where otherwise action and results were not taking place. And those three things are not available anywhere else unless they hire a professional coach that brings those things to the table and can be rigorous about enforcing those things and bringing those things to the table. And it has a trickle-down effect. If you're an executive coaching relationship, you're working one-on-one with an executive. If you're working, with a leader of an organization, it is a trickle-down effect from the top to the bottom. So it starts at the top and it trickles down, and all these things take place, and they create, for example, a library for the books that the leaders read inside the organization. Eventually the employees read them, and everybody becomes on the same page. You're developing a culture of accountability. Your process brings to the table that, so that ultimately everyone in the organization can tap into the same thing. Now, in the interest of time, I left a lot of details out. If you are looking for examples of our recommended reading, I got to correct myself here. I need to correct myself. If you are looking for examples of books that people read for their assignments through businesscoach.com, some of the best of the best of the best. We read hundreds of books, and we only recommend about 16 books that our clients would read. If you want that, you can just email me, Gary@businesscoach.com, Gary, Gary@businesscoach.com. Put in the subject line books or reading assignments, and I'll ship you off the top books that we are recommending at this point. It's not recommendation, it's an assignment that the clients must work through. And another one is we also have a client workbook that has the methodology included in our client workbook, and I don't know why more coaches don't do this. It's about 260 pages of material that we work with our clients. They purchase these workbooks from us, and then that's their homework assignments for 1 full year, and all of the handouts for the employees and the transformational pieces and all that stuff is in there. And if you want information about that, you can include that in the email to me as well, and I'll share what that looks like with you. So again, without a methodology, I don't see you're really being a coach. If you don't have a coach, I don't see you really being a coach. And the last thing is that I'll close. It's not complicated, ladies and gentlemen. It's just like I say. If you're going to buy a McDonald's franchise, they would share with you the way they do it at McDonald's. If you're going to be a coach, you need to have a process that walks people through A to B, how they're going to get the results that they want to get, and that's what they're hiring you for, is to bring results to the table, bring them through the blind spots, bring them past the barriers that are preventing them from having what they want, and you're the conduit, the connection for that. Drayton, over to you, sir.
Yeah, and Gary, we got a comment. If you just want to repeat your email for everyone so they can get that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Gary, Gary @businesscoach.com. Gary@businesscoach.com.
Excellent. And I hope all of you soak this in. There's so many reasons, really great reasons to have a process, and I will tell you over all the years that we have been doing this work, we have yet to be asked if we're credentialed, and we constantly are asked if we have a process. So bear that in mind.
Yeah.
You know, the companies, the organizations gain a great deal, the organizations and the individuals gain a great deal of comfort knowing that you have a process. A lot of these companies and a lot of the individuals within the organizations are scared to death of coaching. as hard as that may be to believe. They are terrified because they know on some level that it's going to take them places they don't necessarily want to go, but they need to go. And we need to demystify all of this. And the whole school of thought about coaching is all about questioning, and that may work in the life coaching realm and some of the other fields. I will tell you flat out, as a former CEO, you'd get thrown out on your ear if you tried to do that within any organization. They would toss you in a heartbeat. And we get a lot of questions around, okay, how do we even, get into businesses and open the door? Well, this is the way to do it. You don't have to have the business experience that some people think you do. You don't have to have an MBA. You don't have to, have to be a former executive to work with executives. What they need to know is two important things. Is the chemistry there, and do you have a process? And let me dispel a myth about this whole process thing. Gary, I think this is important for folks to know, and you touched on it. There is great fluidity to this. We get a lot of people saying, oh, so I just march them through this process? No, you don't. Our number one duty is to meet them where they are and to be of service to our clients. It's not to, race them through a process. We are here to be of service. So this process that you're looking at on the screen, it may take 6 months, it may take a year, it depends on where they are. And one of the great things, and there's all kinds of data around this, life coaching engagements average about 3 months. Business and executive coaching engagements last 4, 5, 6 times longer. We have clients that have been with us for a decade. And if you're looking to really build your business, then this is the way to do it. You're going to have the credibility through a process. You're going to know in a very general sense where the relationship is going. Your client will be put at ease because they know you've got a process and they can see things like you're seeing here, and it'll demystify this whole coaching woo-woo thing. They're not going to get their heads shrunk. They're not going to be on the couch. You have a very professionally thought out business process, business coaching and executive coaching process. We can't overemphasize this enough. And also, with a process, it's going to hopefully put you at ease. We talk to so many coaches that are freaked out before every single call or every single meeting because they don't know, what are we going to talk about? Well, you're there to be of service first and foremost, so it's, the onus is not on you. The onus is on that coachee to do the work. With a framework like this that you're looking at, you will have a process, they will have a process, and it's going to make for, much less stressful work for you, much better experience for your coachee, and gain you the credibility that you need to rise above many of the other coaches that are out there. And we don't look at this as competitive. You're not competing against other coaches. You are here to serve people through the coaching work that you do. A process will help you do that in a much better fashion. And you look at this, so let me just walk you through kind of our 10-step mastermind executive coaching process. This is what we certify people in. And not pitching it, do whatever you feel is right. This is just what we use. And Gary was talking about what they use, which, Gary, I find it very interesting. We really start at the same place and go to the same place. The underlying tenet of all this work is mission formulation, mission execution. That's what it is. So we help our clients dream bigger, achieve bigger. They come up with a big stretch mission and then come up with a methodology to help them reach that. That's what we do here. So we do that through, it's very steeped in values, so we do personal assessments to start with, and then we go through a whole values. What we did last week is exactly what we do as the second step in our process. We go through the personal and business values test. And then we take them through a time audit. And all of these things that we're going through here, Gary and I are going to be talking about all these this coming year throughout the rest of 2015. So we're going to go in depth in all of these. We're setting the larger framework, the 30,000-foot view at this point. And then we take them through, the time audit, where are they spending their time? And that is a revelation, absolute revelation. And then we go through SWOTs. We'll be doing these two, business and personal SWOTs. And again, when we do this, as we did last week, or last session, we go through the business side of things and the personal side of things and match those things up and deal with any chasms that exist, which they always do, between the two. So important to do that. And as we work through these things, it lays the foundation for people to come up with their mission, that to-be state. What are they desiring to be? And the beauty of having a process like this, or Gary's or anybody else's that's credible, is that you're helping them achieve so much more than they normally would without working, with someone. It's a bigger state. You're helping them. You're serving them. They're going to be stretching to get to these things. And it's so important that they know that at the outset. That's what we're here to do. Help you get to a place that normally you cannot get to by yourself. That's what we're here to help people do. So that desired state, that to-be state, is what we're helping them work toward. We're not doing the work, they're doing the work. We're helping create the framework and the execution. Now, the execution piece, and Gary touched on this, is vital. We are here as accountability partners. I don't care if it's the chairman of the board of the largest organization in the world. If you're coaching them, you're going to be their accountability partner. So whomever you're working with or desire to work with, you want to be able to show up and hold them accountable for this work and for every step of your process. And so many coaches shy away from this accountability thing, thinking, oh, I'm just going to tick them off, right? If I hold them accountable and come down on them about not doing this, not doing that, not showing up, you know what? That's coaching. And you may be hearing things that are different than what you may have been taught in some coaching schools or through some other programs. I will tell you that these processes, what Gary and I are talking about, is steeped in experience and battle-tested in the real world. This is what businesses require. If you want to work with executives, if you want to be a business coach, you're going to have to figure out what your process is. Now, create your own. Do whatever you feel is right. Have a process, though. Have a process. It's so important. And again, the length of engagement will be extended tremendously, not just for the sake of the extended engagement. It's more, we know it takes at least 6 months and ideally a year to formulate sustainable change for individuals and organizations. 6 months, ideally a year. So when you go into your engagements and you're interviewing a prospective, notice I said interviewing, a prospective client, you need to interview them. You can talk about your process, show them your process, and it sets that expectation that when we talk to people about engaging with us, we say minimum 6-month commitment, ideally at least a year. And we tell them why. It takes that long to sustain really good change. And then we show them our process. And you're setting the expectation that they're going to be with you at least 6 months and ideally a year, and you're going to be charging accordingly. The thing, Gary touched on this, and I'm going to emphasize this even more. When you have a process, you will be worth so much more to your clients. Perceived value that turns into tangible value when you do the work. Remember this, please. So if you're lacking in confidence and you're saying, oh, I can only charge X amount, you've got a process. Your value to that individual just went up 4-fold. Their perceived value, the real value. You're still going to get in there and do the magic of coaching. But with the process, the perceived value of what that relationship looks like to an individual and or an organization will be heightened tremendously. And that's what you really want to bank on and have confidence in. And look them straight in the eyes and say, look, this is our process. It's going to take a minimum of 6 months, ideally a year. And this is an all-in commitment. We want this to be a, hey, I'm all in for this. You're committed to it. You're going to do the work. You're going to do the homework. And I'm going to hold your fanny accountable. And we talk like that, by the way, to our clients. We are very direct up front. And there's playfulness to this, right? You got to look them straight in the eyes and go, look, if you're not doing the work, I'm going to fire you. And they'll look at you with big wide eyes and go, what? You'll fire me? Yes. I bet your attorney's never fired you. I bet your CPA's never fired you. But guess what? I will fire you if you're not going to do this work. And when you show up with that kind of attitude, the world changes. It changes for you. It changes for your relationship with that coachee or prospect. Everything changes. We're not here to play small. We're not here to help people play small. We are here to go bold or go home. And that's what a process can help you do. And it's your anchor. It's their anchor. It's your roadmap. And it helps them in so many ways and helps you in so many ways. So we come up with a mission. Then we develop the priorities based on that and establish the goals, and then we go through an exercise called Rebuilding Calendar, which we'll do. The dashboard, we're going to touch on this if we have some time again, and just give you a quick overview and go more in depth maybe next session or the next. Dashboard, Gary, what do you refer to it as? What do you guys call it?
Scoreboard.
Scoreboard. So scoreboard, there's scorecards, there's a lot of different things that people call it. The reality is it's an accountability document. It's a tracking document, and it's vital to this work. And again, we use resources that business folks relate to. They'll relate to accountability, they'll relate to a process, they'll relate to all these things that you can bring to them, and they will love it. Because think about it. If you didn't have a process and you go and you're interviewing with a CEO to see if it's a good fit, what do you think that CEO is going to ask and look for? They're going to ask you, okay, how does this coaching work? And if you don't have a process, what are you going to do? We'll have our sessions. There's going to be a lot of stammering and hemming and hawing. If you have a process that you can put down on the desk in front of them and say, this is our process, and this is how we'll progress through the relationship. And these are the outcomes, the business benefits that you can bank on. How do you think that's going to play versus, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, and we're going to meander a long time and kind of figure it out as we go? Do you think that's going to have a good outcome for you? No. It's not going to work. And you'll get thrown out on your keister in a heartbeat. So, Gary, do you think we've kind of hit on the fact that they need a process?
I think we built a pretty good case for that, yes.
Well, and we hope you...
go
ahead, Gary, please.
I do want to hammer on there's a couple of things that I do want to touch on that I think are significant that you and I both mentioned, but I want to make sure that we don't pass by. There's in the upper right-hand corner, there's Raven referred to. Then you move to the SWOT analysis, just for in case any of you have missed it. That is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A SWOT analysis. That's something that's been used for a number of years. I prefer to use what's working, what's not working, what's missing, and what's next. And I'll repeat that again, which is a great session tool for you when you don't know where to start with your session. Ask your client, what's working? What's been working this last week or month? What's not working? And what's missing? You have those three elements in any conversation, then it tells you where to go next, which is the fourth element. What's working, what's not working, what's missing, what's next. Another thing that Drayton touched upon that I think is so very critical for us to emphasize again and again, and that is that you are looking to create change and results for your clients, and Drayton put the word sustainable in front of that. That's very, very critical that you understand that people can change, people can make changes in their organization, but to get sustainable change and sustainable results that are repeating themselves, that's where the 6 months to 1 year comes into the process. You can't do that. People can change really quickly. Then, like a rubber band, they'll flex right back to where they were prior to your coaching process. So to get sustainable change, they need to go through and be coached over and over again, and sometimes they'll backslide. And you pick them up, dust them off, and they move forward. They forget, they get distracted, they try to cut corners, and that's what you're there for, to hold them accountable to keep moving forward. And then just to emphasize what's going on, just to emphasize that, a part of the relationship that brings that value is that over the course of the last 15, 20 years, BusinessCoach.com is average staying with a client for 23 months. So we're averaging 23 months. So the short-term clients, the long-term clients, and everything in between are 23 months. And the fee average per hour is something around $500 per hour. So what Drayton has been saying to you is that when you do that, when you have this process in place, when you can bring to the table the kinds of systems and methodologies that we're talking about, then you are worth that kind of money, and people will stay with you because you're reinventing and changing and growing their business, their workplace over and over again, and they're growing and expanding exponentially, and it repeats itself. So there's just an awesome opportunities for all of you here, and I'm just so glad we approached this the way that we did today, Drayton. I think it's really powerful conversation, and you can't hear it enough.
Well, and that's our hope, is that you do indeed hear it, and you embrace this, and you understand what it can mean for your business. So think about this. So Gary's average client stays 23 months. The average life coaching client stays 3. What business do you want to be in? And so many people are struggling out there as coaches, and the quickest way to take care of that is get a process and double your rates. And you've heard us say this before, but whatever you're charging, I have not ever heard a figure that I've said, that's good. I don't think I've ever had that response from anyone. So whatever you're charging at this moment, and go ahead, in fact, if you can give us some feedback here and let us know just how much are you charging per hour. We'll talk about an hour. We do it differently, as you guys have heard over the years. But what are you charging right now? I want to ask again, just what are you charging? And whatever you're charging, if and when you get a process, you will be able to charge 2 to 3 times whatever that is. So we're getting some people saying $300 an hour, $150 an hour. Great, thank you for the comments. Just keep putting them up here, and I'll reel them off. So whatever you're charging, $460 an hour, it's getting better. So the seed we want to plant with you is, what is it worth to help an individual realize their wildest dreams? What is it worth to that individual?
Have their dreams come true.
And have the dreams come true. And when you look at the impact that coaching can have, so we've seen it, Gary. We were just recounting when on our team call a little bit earlier. We were talking about some of the impact with some of the people we've had. When you help someone double their income, what do you think your worth is? When you help someone make millions of dollars that they would not have made by working with you, what is that worth? So gain confidence, be very steadfast in the knowledge that you can help change lives for the better, and while you do that, you help change organizations for the better, and there's not really a price tag you can put on that. The only limiting factor that we have in this industry around pricing resides between your ears. That's the only limiting factor. And what I'd put out to you, so we've got some people saying 300 an hour, 150 an hour, 460 an hour. So my charge to you is next client you have coming up that you're going to interview to see if they're a good fit for you and your values match up, double it and see what happens. The first hurdle you have to get over, and really the only hurdle you have to get over, is you. You have to convince yourself that you're worth it. Until that happens, ain't going to happen. Just will not happen.
And
go ahead, Gary.
And Drayton, the other thing is that we may be misleading. We have. I apologize to everyone. One of our cardinal rules is we don't charge by the hour. So I was giving you a fee structure to gauge by, but we always put it in form. For example, if you're doing 4 one-hour sessions per month, or 3 to 4, then you charge a monthly retainer fee of $2,000 a month. That works out to about an average of $500 or a little bit more an hour. If you're working with larger organizations, and even if you're not meeting with them more often, you're bringing more value, more information, and more coaching to the table, the rates can go north of that, and the package is $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month, $5,000 a month, and up. And you want to do that. And then, again, do the math, as Drayton said. If you're a world-class life coach, as an example, and you can get $500 per hour, which is pretty rare, and the average client stays with you 3 months, then your marketing process, you're reinventing yourself every 3 months with all of your clients to get them to either stay or refer somebody or move to the next client. Drayton, years ago, I talked to a lady who's a PhD, very, very successful psychologist, turned coach, and she kept the same rates that she had when she was a PhD and a psychologist. She started working with business people at $150 an hour, and she called me up one day and she said, "Is this Coach Gary?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I just can't figure this out." She says, "Are you a PhD?" And I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "Are you an MBA?" And I said, "No, in fact, I'm not that either." And she says, "Well, I am. I'm both of those. And I'm over here in Marin County where we have a very wealthy clientele, and my secretary, my receptionist, secretary, administrative assistant, keeps me booked 35, 40 hours a week." And she says, "You're making a lot more money working 20 hours a week than I am working 40 or 45 hours a week. How do you do that?" And I merely had the same conversation with her that we're having with our folks right now. She didn't have a methodology. She didn't have a way to charge her clients appropriately by the package, and she was turning them and burning them every 3 or 4 or 5 months, and she just didn't have the methodology. She came, took our course, doubled, tripled her rates overnight, lost a few of her clients because she had such a great increase, and she was actually making twice as much money working less hours and not exhausting her assistant, rescheduling and making appointments and getting new clients in. So it's real simple math, and again, this is not complicated. Drayton's got it up on the screen. The process that you follow, and then you build in your team building, your leadership, your executive coaching sessions, the other processes that you bring to the table, and you're worth every penny of that. And people, Drayton, have come to me, have tried for years. Every year is a new year. This year I'm working on my dashboard. Next year I'm working on my bottom line. The next year I'm working on marketing. The next year I'm working on this, and nothing's changed. The same CEO, the same executive management team could not move the ball forward. They hire us as their coach. We come in 90 days. We have them increasing sales, increasing profits, making changes, effective results on their dashboard. They can see it in 90 days or less, already moving forward when they've tried to do it on their own. And when you do the same thing that you've always done, you get the same results that you've always got. You need a coach to come in from the outside and bring that valuable accountability partner, that outside objective opinion, and start creating results for people, sustainable change, as Drayton has been pointing out.
And it's an important word, and one that we hope you use when you talk to prospective clients. If somebody is saying, oh, I want a short-term coach, run. If somebody said, oh, I'll commit 3 months, run. And have the confidence to know that it doesn't work. Don't just take a check for the sake of taking a check. We need to focus on sustainable results. And I will tell you, as Gary said, the average client for him, 23 months, businesscoach.com. We have the same experience. When you introduce things like the process and you come as we have a segment, Gary, where we go through and talk about, okay, so how do you mushroom this out? And we've taken people and said, we've done case studies live through one of our webinars. We did this in the past. It was so much fun. We took a person that was making about $40,000 a year, and in a matter of 20 minutes showed her how to make, I think it was 6 times that. It was about almost $250,000 a year by identifying opportunities right in front of her right then and there. There is so much when you have a process, you get into an organization, you start swimming around, you'll hear things that you'll go, oh, I can help with that. Oh, you're having a retreat, I can help you by facilitating that. Oh, you're doing this, doing that. There's so many different ways once you get clients, and even just a handful to start with, that you can look to expand your business. And the cornerstone of all of this is having a process, a good process that you have confidence in, that you can explain to your prospects and your existing clients so they get it, and it demystifies this whole coaching thing. Gary, we've got a couple questions here. One in particular, 2 in particular, that I would like to address since we're just have about 6 minutes left. We will get to the dashboard in our next session. So just keep that in mind. This has been great. Hopefully it's been great on your end too, and we'll get to the dashboard next session. 2 good questions. So what has been our experience with nonprofits regarding fees, same or different? This is from Martha. Martha, thank you. And Gary, I'll jump in, and you can certainly give your experience as well.
Great question.
It's a great question. Here's what we do. Our experience is it's the same. Now, here's the caveat. We always give a 20% discount to nonprofits. Now, that being said, you have to work with the right nonprofits. A lot of nonprofits cannot afford what you're willing, what you're worth. Right. And that's just the reality. And that's where if you volunteer with them, and we call it 3 legs of the stool: time, talent, and treasury. When you do nonprofit work, time, talent, and treasury, given those fashions, don't do it with your business. And there are ways. We've got something called the charity conduit, which I won't get into now, but there's a strategy around working with nonprofits that you can employ too. But it's really, they need you. The larger nonprofits certainly can afford you. If not, if they say we can't afford you, say, get one of your board members to sponsor this work. Let them figure that out, and put the onus on them to go to the board and say, I want coaching for the executive director. We need to have a sponsor to do this. It can happen, believe me. We've seen it time and again. Yeah. So, Gary, what's your experience with that?
I'll save some time here, almost a ditto right down the line, and we're pretty much in the same camp. I want to add for people's benefit, Drayton and I don't rehearse these calls, and I don't look at their methodology for hours and have him study ours so that we can be on the same page. I just want you to get the value and the wisdom of both Drayton and I, a combined 50 years in the industry. We're on the same page because it works. These things that we're teaching you are not things that we have never done and want to teach you. These are things that it took us years to figure these things out. And we don't do a lot of nonprofits work, Drayton, but when we do, we pretty much do the same things as you. So great question. Thank you, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Gary, you hit on a point that really resonated with me again. It's not like we woke up a couple of days ago and figured this stuff out and just it was a lightning bolt. Gary and I have gotten our nose bloody for decades. And we've made really, really stupid mistakes. So we want to take all of those, chasing parked car stuff and experiences and convey this to you saying we know from the actual work in the trenches that these things work. And it's not some pie in the sky, internet scheme to be a, multimillionaire coach in 5 seconds like, a lot of people are pitching out there. These are tried and true. So what we're telling you is bulletproof in terms of its ability to work in the real world. And that's what we hope you really get out of this. So another one, Gary, is, and why don't you tackle this one? This is a great one. What's the difference between coaching and consulting?
Oh, gosh. Oh, and we only have 45 minutes for me to answer that question.
Exactly.
I apologize, everybody. I love this topic, but it's so complex to answer, not in its nature, but to answer. Typically, consultants do the work for people. Typically, consultants oftentimes will give a report, and then at the end of the report, you pay $10,000 for a report about how broken you messed up and messy your organization or you are. And then there's typically a fee schedule behind that to fix all the broken things. And I could go on and on and on, but that's the nature of consulting in my world. And first of all, in coaching, we never, ever approach anybody as being broken or that they're bad or need fixing. Coaching is merely working in those 3 areas: accountability partner, outside objective opinion, and bringing results into the organization where they can't do it on their own. And we don't do the work for them. Now, one thing I disagree with all these associations, they say ask questions until they figure it out on their own. If we have a job description template, and we do, and if we have a outline for a strategic plan, and we do, and things like that, we give those to our clients, and we don't make them ask them 500 questions to figure it out. So we do some, and the way we word that with our clients is we give the consulting stuff for free. We throw that in, and any way we can help you, or if we know somebody, if I know that Executive Coaching University has a tool that they can get, I send them someplace like that and say, hey, you can get this tool and use this tool. It'll help you do what you want. But basically, the coaching is face-to-face time. It's working with people to get what they can't get on their own. Consulting is giving them information and stuff that they can, most of which they can probably find on the internet for free. That's the best I can do in a short answer.
It's a great answer too, and we could make a whole session about coaching and consulting and the differences and the whys.
Oh, yeah.
And so, the great question. Thank you. And here's another quick one, because I know we're at the top of the hour. We're very respectful of your time. Is FaceTime/Skype acceptable? Absolutely. If that works for you and your client, absolutely. Phone, FaceTime, Skype, in person, whatever works for you. Those are all cool. We know people all over the world that are using Skype to coach people, different time zones. It works incredibly well, as long as you've got a good, fast internet connection. That's the only caveat. So we hope this has been very helpful for you. If you have any further questions, you can reach either one of us, Gary through businesscoach.com, myself through executivecoachinguniversity.com, and we're here to be of service. We will post this on YouTube. Please go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Again, this is all, we're doing all this complimentary. It's a public service thing. So share it with your friends. We believe it's the largest depository of coaching-related training on YouTube. So we want to get more and more people accessing this and spread the word, because that's what we're here to do. So thank you. We appreciate you being here. How soon will it be posted on YouTube? Another question. So we'll have this up within 24 hours. Usually we get it done within 6-7 hours at the maximum. So be looking on that on YouTube for that. But we have dozens on there already. So when you subscribe, you'll automatically get this one as soon as we post it as well. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for being in this industry, which we so dearly love. And if we may be of service in any other way, you just let us know. Until next time, take good care.